With the recent developments regarding palworld, specifically the patent infringement lawsuit perpetuated by the Pokemon Company, a lot of people are feeling a little bit nervous about the future of the monster taming genre should palworld lose this lawsuit. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about what that scenario could mean as a whole for monster taming and discuss whether or not this is a concern that is justified. Now, do keep in mind this video is highly speculative and we don't have a full breakdown of everything that Pocket Pair is being sued for. The most notable patent infringement example right now is the Pokeball versus the Palsphere, so we'll be mostly focusing on that until more information becomes available. So let's start with that. It's no secret that a lot of monster taming games utilize some sort of capture device in order to obtain various monsters, whether these be cards, spinners, traps, etc. And a lot of these devices typically utilize some sort of essence of the monsters themselves when they're contained with some sort of energy, just like a Pokeball does. I don't think anyone in their right mind would deny the fact that this very notion is inspired by the Pokeball, as it was sort of the original capture device that we see in monster taming games. Now, don't get it twisted, Pokemon's not the first monster taming game to exist. However, games that existed prior, such as DDS Megami Tensei, Cosmic Soldier, and Dragon Quest IV utilize a recruitment system instead of a specific device in order to obtain monster companions. Whether or not the idea of asking someone to join your team or convincing someone to join your team could potentially be patented as well is beyond my level of legal knowledge, but given the fact that there are many games that still exist today that use this type of system, such as Digimon Survive, Dragon Quest Monsters of Dark Prince, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and more, this leads me to think that's probably not an issue. The previously listed games are all from bigger studios who no doubtably have legal teams, whereas most games utilizing a Pokeball-esque capture device are in fact indie studios where for the most part they're just trying to make games inspired by the franchises they love. Now, if Pocket Pair is found to be within infringement, would this cause a domino effect which could impact the genre heavily? Well, yes, to an extent, but not in the way that I think you might be thinking. You know, where everything becomes apocalyptic. There's also the fact that the main lawsuit that's going on right now is between two Japan-based companies. From what I understand, the international cases are going to be handled a little differently, so keep that in mind. Now, all of that aside, we are going to talk about the doomsday scenario where Pokemon ends up winning on all fronts and owns the rights to capture devices. But first, a word from this video's sponsor. This video is sponsored by none other than our friends over at Atlus and Sega, this time regarding their latest project, Metaphor ReFantazio, which is available right now as of the time you're watching this, and even has a free demo you could check out. From the creative minds behind Persona 3, 4, and 5 comes Metaphor ReFantazio, a unique fantasy world where your protagonist will journey alongside his fairy companion, Gallica, to enter the royal tournament and lift the curse from the kingdom's lost prince. Control your destiny, face your fears, and awaken magical archetype powers that lie dormant in your heart. By awakening to an archetype, you will unlock the power to channel and combine abilities of unique job classes. Strengthen your bonds and build your party to take down powerful foes and discover the kingdom's true nature. The game's got a fresh and unique combat system, some awesome anime-themed aesthetics, a slew of unique characters, and more. So if this is something you guys are interested in, again, please make sure to check it out, linked below, to help support the channel. And thank you so much again to Atlus and Sega for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's say it turns out that no one is allowed to use any sort of Pokeball-esque capturing device in their games. This would in fact make a major impact on the genre, especially with some of the more popular games on the indie scene. However, it would not spell the end of the genre as a whole. It would just mean that developers would have to get more creative with how they're executing their recruitment mechanic. Many games would have to dedicate resources to changing their systems, and at least for me, it does get a little bit murky in terms of what's too close to a Pokeball and what's not. For example, if palworld used a cube instead of a sphere, would that be significant enough? What about something like Temtem's Tem card system? What if the monsters are being absorbed into a book? How about if they're contained in some sort of jar or pocket dimension or anything to that extent where there is a capturing process but not innate to Pokemon's capturing process? Unless you guys are going to tell me that the Mafuba from Dragon Ball is a patent infringement even though it came out before Pokemon did. All that being said, the people who are saying that the monster taming genre will be destroyed by this are simply exasperating the issue, which is still in fact a concerning one, but not to the apocalyptical extent that many are making it out to be. Anytime there's anything that goes on ever, there will always be people who are going to sensationalize the magnitude of said thing in order to get that dopamine fix from either talking about it or consuming content about it or whatever. And I think, as always, it's important to try to look at things more reasonably and see what effects it could actually have in the worst case scenario. I could be wrong about this, but a lot of people are acting as though Pokemon has filed a lawsuit saying that any game that lets you collect monsters is infringing on their IP, which, at least with the information that's currently available, is not the case. And I don't think they'd win a case where they tried to do that, considering monster recruitment's been a thing in video games since at least a decade before Pokemon existed, in media even longer, and it's been something that exists in real life since the beginning of history. We're gonna go back in time and start telling people they can't ride horses anymore because they're copying Pokemon, and before you say they're not battling, pretty sure there were dog fights back in the day, so just saying. Anyways, all that being said, I just wanted to say, as usual guys, we have to wait to see what the ramifications will be. Best case scenario, people can use capturing devices, but even in the worst case scenario, if it's something that needs to be changed, I think the genre will continue to push through and make the changes that are necessary, and monster taming is no stranger to Pokemon's influence keeping it down anyway. What do you guys think? Anything you want to add? Keep in mind, these are just one man's ramblings about the situation and shouldn't be taken as gospel. If you guys do enjoy monster taming content, make sure to subscribe to the channel because this channel chiefly focuses on that. And special thanks to my supporters, especially Jim Hamilton, Dro Ghost, Candy Morency, TragSoft, and Nemo. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.